Welcome back. Thank you guys for clicking on the video. Today we're just going to sort of relax and go through one of the main topics of Harry Potter and kind of talk about what the whole story is about, what the meaning of Harry Potter is, and just briefly run through some of, my thoughts about what I think one of the main topics is that should be addressed and that I don't think is addressed enough. And it's family. What the story is about and what Harry Potter centers around is family. And so we're just going to talk about that a little bit today. Harry's parents died when he was very little and he didn't get to know them. They're very important to the story. Yeah, as he gets older, he learns about his parents. He learns about what they did as kids. He learns about who they interacted with. He learns about how they held themselves and fought back against Voldemort and the forces of evil and things like that. And so it really shapes his decisions moving forward, coming into adulthood. Even in the latter movies and latter books, he gains new information, new knowledge about his parents that really shapes who he's going to be in the future. And that's super important for his motivations later on. But after his parents, he ended up with the Dursleys. And the Dursleys, if you don't know, Mrs. Dursley is his mother's sister. He had to go with them. They don't say this in the movies, but he had to go with her because she's a blood relative. And there was a special protection for Harry where nobody could hurt him or touch him as long as he was with a blood relative. But they made it really difficult for him. They made it really tough on young Harry growing up. I'd say it was probably more good for his character than it was bad. It really taught him how to treat other people because he was treated badly. He didn't want to be the way they were towards other people, and he didn't want to be anything like them. His actions towards others reflect how he would have wanted to be treated, and I think that's really great, especially somebody so important in this community. Even Dumbledore knew that not only was he going to get protection from living here, but he also wasn't going to have the burden of growing up being famous, being the most famous person in the wizard world, and having all of that on his head. It could have given him just a really inflated ego. But as he got older and as he got into school, he quickly made friends, and that's where Ron and Hermione come in. They sort of become the people that accept him for who he is, and they become the people that he can be his true self around. He could never be himself around the Dursleys. He was strange with the Dursleys, but with them, he's not strange. He's famous, but he's not anything scary or different. His personality can shine and who he is can shine. And as he gets older, the friendships, it becomes really strong, and they become sort of his school family, the people he looks forward to most when he's away, when he's back home. But as time goes on, more people come into his life that become family, especially Dumbledore becomes a big sort of father figure in Harry's life, guiding him, teaching him, steering him in the way that he should go so that he can become a more well-rounded person. Hagrid, from the beginning, is there for Harry. Hagrid's the one who goes and retrieves Harry. He's the one who retrieved Harry when he was a baby. He's such a big part of Harry's life. And even though he's not like the most stable person in that he likes to mess around and raise dangerous animals and creatures, he really cares for Harry and puts his life on the line to protect him. But then also you have characters like Sirius Black, who is his godfather. And while Sirius isn't there altogether, he's kind of a wild card. He also truly cares about Harry, gives him some really good advice, teaches him in a lot of ways how to be a better person, but also how to not be like he was. In the books especially, they talk about the way Sirius treated his house elf creature, and that was the reason that there was a lot of sort of issues because the house elf betrayed Sirius to Voldemort. The lesson that Harry learns from Sirius is that he wasn't a perfect person. He was somebody to look up to, but not always somebody to follow in their exact footsteps. And in the end, Harry has a different approach for the way he treats Creature, and in the books at least it shows that that really pays off, and Creature accepts him sort of as a, kind of a pseudo master. Going even further, Remus Lupin is a good advisor and father figure to Harry as well. It helps him with his magic, helps him with his family's history and who they were and who they became, which is really good for Harry just to learn about. I feel like Lupin's probably a better example for Harry than maybe even Sirius. I just want to briefly touch on the Weasleys. Their family sort of adopt Harry as their own son, because there's two other ones that are. There's Bill and Charlie. So he's like their eighth kid, and they accept him into their home, and Mrs. Weasley really defends Harry to the bitter end, and she goes to such lengths in the books, at least, to make sure Harry isn't getting into danger and is protected at all costs, just trying to do the best for him that she possibly can. So as the story kind of winds down, Harry sort of accrued these people, this new family. He's gone away from the old family, even though his parents are still with him throughout all of these times. He's moved away from his relationship with the Dursleys. But even in the later books, we see, in the last book, in fact, we see that Dudley had a connection with Harry after Harry saved his life. Even the way that he treated his cousin, who treated him bad for so many years, reflects really good on Harry's character as he became an adult. But towards the end, Harry has to make a decision that will be not just in the best interest for himself, but it'll also be in the best interest for all of these people that he knows and everybody that he loves. And Dumbledore makes it clear that, love is the most powerful thing. It's what Voldemort can't understand, and it's why he is less than everybody else, because he doesn't have the power to grasp it. So Harry has to make the decision to sacrifice himself, and he does so after he speaks to sort of the ghosts of the people he's lost, gets their encouragement, and understands that they'll be behind him all the way. It's sort of beautiful to see you have represented in those people his past family, the family that he learned were there, like Sirius along the way and Lupin. In the end, when he sacrifices himself, he does so for the people who are still alive, for the people who are still his family that he knows are going to continue after the fact. Again, briefly, we're going to touch on how Voldemort is sort of a reflection of Harry's character, in that he has nobody he loves. He has no family. He's alone. He goes as far to hunt down who his family were. His mother died. His father abandoned her. I mean, abandoned more or less. He was under like a love charm or something when they were together. But ultimately, his father went back to his parents, Tom Riddle, Voldemort's grandparents. He hunted them down and basically destroyed all of them, killed all of them. So he's alone, and he can't understand what it really means to be loved by somebody. He had potential for it, but he never acted on that potential because he never felt like he needed to. Ultimately, the reason that Voldemort loses is because he doesn't have a capacity to understand that there are some things that people do for more than just themselves. They do things for other people, for the relationships and for the friendships that they make. Coming to our conclusion, it's about family. It's about Harry, the families that he's had, but also the family that he has in the future. And ultimately, the reason that he does everything he does is it leads to him having his own family that he can love and he can be there for, and he can advise and do all the things that he never got from his true parents, that he had to glean along the way from his experiences and from people that he met. His efforts lead to them being safe. It says in the end of the book that, he feels his scar and he looks at his son riding away on the train, and his scar hadn't hurt in like 19 years or something. And it was because he knew that his family would be safe because he went to such lengths to make sure that they would be. And that's a beautiful thought. It's an undertone of the whole story that people don't think about quite as often. We think about the adventures, we think about the fights, we think about the friendships. But Harry Potter's really a touching story about family and about what it means to love somebody else and to care for somebody else, and what it looks like both when you don't have that and when you do have that. It's great storytelling. I thank you guys for watching and, coming along this journey. This will be my last in the Harry Potter series. If you guys enjoyed the previous videos, make sure to like them. Make sure to like this one, subscribe, and leave a comment. And I thank you guys for watching and being here for this whole thing. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.